The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, hello there everybody. Imagine seeing all of you on this fine Friday night, a little bit earlier than usual. Myself and Liam are on the screen. We're expected to be joined by Mark Kearney very soon, and anybody else that wishes to come on from the Bhoycie bus team, because I've sent the link out to all of them. So yeah, it's a little I don't know if I'm encroaching on anything by saying it's a bulletin, an emergency bulletin tonight, that we are on to talk about the breaking news today, which funny enough we were talking about just last night on the TNF, and out of nowhere, Celtic's dropped this one on us, Liam, because myself, Russell and Mark say TNF last night, the name Peter Lawwell came up. We talked about the mystery around who the next chairman's going to be and how they didn't announce it at the AGM, and lo and behold, they waited to today and just dropped it right on us. So that's what we're on to talk about. But before we do so, and I say before Mark joins us, because he's on his way, I'm reliably informed, I will just remind everybody all the good stuff that helps the channel out. So remember to comment, like, subscribe, and share. And yes, also just to answer, myself and Liam will be on a little later. We're pulling a double shift tonight. Bustalgia will be on at the usual time of 9. So yeah, as I said, we are on a little bit of a earlier slot just now to deal with this news, because yeah, we know that this needs to be spoken about. Obviously, what happened, say, literally last night we were talking about it. So yeah, let's catch people up if they do not know what has happened. So yes, today out of nowhere, Celtic Football Club dropped the following statement. They said Celtic is pleased to announce the appointment of Peter Lawwell as director of Celtic PLC and its new, keyword there, non-executive chairman. Peter will take up the new role from the 1st of January 2023, following the retirement of current chairman Ian Bankier. Peter returns to Celtic PLC as a non-executive chairman after previously being Celtic chief executive for almost 18 years, a position he retired from in the summer of 2021. Of course, if you wish to read the rest of the statement, you can. It is on their website. So, Liam, my first thing that I have to say to that is it's a bit of a red flag when Celtic decide not to post that on their social media. There was no Twitter post, no tweet. There was no Facebook post. It reminded me of when somebody puts out a tweet that's kind of borderline, where they know when they're tweeting it, this is going to get a bit of backlash, so they disable the comments so that you can't reply to it. It reminded me of something like that, where they didn't want any real-time feedback. But that's what I felt when I saw that. I was like, bit of a red flag that they've not drawn your attention to it. But Liam, what is your initial reaction to all of that?
So many questions, isn't it? I mean, so many questions. It's almost a scary, scary feeling of deja vu. You know, where have we seen this before? Where this waterproof contract, you know, gets, you know, did they deliver it to him in the shower? Did Peter Lawwell sign? You know, did Desmond with his DD cufflinks and his Savoro arm come through the shower curtain and hand it to him, you know, for him to sign?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, who was on the short list? Was there a short list?
Yeah.
Somebody on Kerrydale Street posted that thing today about
Saw that.
You know, what the roles were of was it a non-voting CEO or something like that, right?
Yeah, I've got the definition of non-executive chairman, but I did see somebody on Kerrydale had put like a pretty long post about when it comes to like appointing people as chairman on a PLC, it can't be anybody that's held a previous position, and it's like some sort of UK business law, but it's all a bit mucky, and I'm not going to pretend to understand all of that. But I can tell you, I've got the definition here for a non-executive chairman. So an NEC, a non-executive chairman of the board, does not hold a management position within a company. Instead, they operate independently from the company, but will receive any plans and proposals from the CEO, who in this case is Michael Nicholson. If the non-executive chairman will be the one, from there, the NEC will be the one to present those potential plans and proposals to the board at a future date for approval. So the sort of layman's terms of that is the non-executive chairman still has his fingers in the pie and oversees things, but ultimately plans are still put to the board for approval. However, if he was the chairman and the CEO, it wouldn't go through a board. He would just basically click his fingers and essentially it would happen. So people have obviously highlighted tonight, you have to concentrate on the words non-executive, Liam. So that's the kind of definition between the two.
So, Phil, see where I see the red flag? The biggest red flag for me right now is communication. Yeah. And you've just seen it completely go from, okay, Ange tells us what he's going to do, he's doing this. You know, like we've actually had a wee bit of conversation, a wee bit of dialogue with the board since he left. He's back, bang, all these different questions are coming back. Again, of like, okay, why him? Was there no one else? Like, what did he present in his vision for you to say, we need to get Peter back in this chair? We can't do it without him. So, but besides all the other things and the meddling and all that sort of stuff, that's what I see right away. It's like, you don't need to tell the supporters. It's like, right, you know, social media, no, we're clamping down on that. It's fucking totalitarian, it's fascism, you know? Yeah. And that was our entire problem with the board last time as well.
Yep.
It built up to such a level that they were doing so much stuff in secrecy that we couldn't get a take on how our club was being managed and why decisions are being made. And right away, it's not even in the door yet. Or maybe it's never right.
Maybe.
But right now, communication is the first casualty of the new Peter Lawwell era. Right now.
Yeah, right away. Yep, that's it. It's gone back to that.
Your communications are fucking done. You'll do what we tell you, and you'll believe that we know best, and we've got your best interest. And you know, as I've told you before, just think they're a bunch of green Tories, completely.
Green Tories, aye.
One, no, they're emerald Tories. That's all they really are.
Emerald Tories. You need to trademark that one, Liam. That's a good one, mate. Emerald Tories. But I'll read out a quote as well from Dermot Desmond tonight, because I've seen that he had a wee quote on the statement. So he said, "I'm delighted that Peter has agreed to take up the position of chairman." He didn't say non-executive chairman, just said chairman. He is the outstanding candidate. Peter is a man of the highest quality, someone who has served the club already with real commitment and expertise. And his experience and knowledge of the club, as well as of the wider global football environment, will help continue to drive the club forward. So keyword in there, first of all, I would say forward. Is it forward? Bringing back somebody who previously was on the board as a CEO, now he's coming back. So is it really a step forward? And I find it interesting, he said he is the outstanding candidate. So who else was... Who were the other candidates? Were their CVs filed away in a drawer? Does Peter Lawwell know the city, and that's why he got the position? It just reeks of a bit of cronyism to me. But then again, this is something, Liam, that I said it last night on the TNF when I was talking to Mark and Russell. This rumour first broke back in August or September, around about there. And this was at a time when our own Russell Bhoycie had put that tweet out saying to keep your eyes on the board, which resulted in him getting a mad Twitter pile-on, which also culminated with some guy telling him Superstore 4 p.m. to wide a square go with him, because Russell had the gumption to say, look, keep your eye on the board, because they say the rumour at the time was You know, Peter Lawwell is going to be brought in as chairman when Ian Bankier steps down. And lo and behold, here we are in December 2022, and the playbook has went exactly that way. As Gordon say, it's just one of the things. Just all he said at the time was, just keep your eyes on them. And I'm looking at tonight on social media, looking in our chat already. I've kept my eye down in the bottom corner just now. It's overwhelmingly negative. So I'd say Russell was probably right at the time to say, keep your eye on the board. But things were going well at that point. I think it was about the time we beat Rangers 4-0. It was definitely the start of the season. It was quite early in the season. But again, it's one of these things where when things are going well, a lot of people just want to fingers in the ears or head in the sand. Don't say anything negative like that. So all Russell said was, keep your eyes on them. He kind of right in the end, wasn't he, Liam?
Oh, you know, it's all about people you agree with, stuff like that. And, you know, I know Mark's not been shy his opinion, but he's going to go off his seat tonight.
I know, come on, Mark.
But a lot of it, I think it came when he surfaced. It was one of our away games. He showed up in the away director's box.
He did.
With all the brasses. It was Dundee United, I think. No sure.
I know when it was now. It was at the very start of the season. It was at Rugby Park. We beat Kilmarnock 5-0. And he was there, so it was before the Rangers game. The Rangers game was like the 5th game of the season. We played Kelly in the 2nd or 3rd game, so it was very early in the season. But he was definitely at Rugby Park that day because there was a picture of him waving to Ange Postecoglou from the seats up at Rugby Park, the executive seats.
And I think that's where it kicked off with the bus as well, because there was a few guys, there was Russell, Mark, and the latest Selman that highlighted that right away. It's like, oh no, what is he doing back? Well, he's like the Tories. Just kind of get rid of them, you know.
A lot of people are giving you some love for Emerald Tory, by the way. I say get that trademarked, get the copyright on that right away.
No, I'd love to see them all disappear. Are you kidding me?
Oh no, I know.
I want to see that vanish completely.
Big time.
I think that's it. You know, you get disconnected from life. You know, you see some people that are so unaware of themselves. Talk about the royal family in Boston. You know, food and all that, just so unaware of the trouble that they cause and just like what they actually project to real supporters. I think you get an out of touch owner like Desmond, it's so far from it that he only knows billionaires, and you know, Peter's maybe only a 100 millionaire or something. So you know, he's crawled through the muck and the clabber. So he's he's got the ear of the people and all that, and you know, and that's how it happens. You know. And he seems to be the one that, you know, Desmond, he's a Celtic. He's Desmond's Celtic man, but he's no our Celtic man. Nothing in common with us.
No, definitely not. Now, Paul Dyatt here says he's back to properly claim credit for finding Ange. That's interesting, because I've also got a quote here from Ange Postecoglou today that at the press conference he did. His quote is, "It's fantastic news for the club that Peter will be taking up the role of chairman. He was instrumental in bringing me to Celtic. I know the love he has for the club, and I know that his wealth of experience and knowledge will be invaluable to us as we all move forward together." There's that word forward again. But maybe my mind's playing tricks on me, but I remember I know Dom Mackay only lasted about 10 weeks or something. It wasn't a fever dream. He did actually happen. But I can remember the initial press conference when Dom and Ange got announced together, and they did that one where they met the fan media, and it was very much like, yeah, Ange, you know, I've been tracking him for a while, and they made it sound like it was, you know, Dom's appointment, and then Dom obviously left, and then they seemed to just sort of, you know, erase him from history, and then you actually started hearing stuff about Peter Lawwell. But yeah, it's interesting that Paul Dyatt saying he's back to claim credit for finding Ange, and I say Ange Postecoglou literally today has said that he was instrumental. So again, it goes back to that question: what did Dom Mackay do in those 10 weeks that he was with the club?
I don't know, enough to get the sack. I mean, Christ, I mean, Neil Lennon did his best work. He couldn't get it, but Dom Mackay, Jesus Christ, I don't know. Must have wore a Celtic strip or something, or cheered the team on or something.
Well, I think Mark said it last night. It seems like maybe he was a bit too forward thinking for the board. He came in with a lot of ideas that they just weren't willing to go to. But we're not privy to the information, you know. We can only speculate as fans, but.
The guy came from rugby marketing and he's went back to rugby marketing. So,
yeah.
I mean, the fact that we've got, you know, how many rugby podcasts are there, you know? Many.
we need to ask some rugby experts for what exactly Dominic Mackay does.
I like work on that, but I just don't think he probably I don't know. I think maybe he had old world ideas. Maybe they got him because, again, rugby's a very Tory sport and could open it up and get rid of them.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. The Stuart Miller here says this guy will chase Ange out the door. I'm worried, not going to lie. Again, I think again, myself, Russell, and Mark said that last night. The old saying, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I just hope, and even I said it last night, I'm like, I will give them the benefit of the doubt when we're talking about Giakoumakis, Juranovic. I'd like to think there's a contingency plan in place. If these guys leave, then we've got people in place to obviously continue on and replace them. I say the signs look to be that with Juranovic. The rumours are about Giakoumakis. We're looking at a Korean striker that's currently at the World Cup, still at the World Cup as of tonight as well. They qualified in dramatic circumstances. But knowing what we know about the interference with Peter Lawwell and previous manager regimes, are you worried, Liam, that this could be bad?
Aye, because it's not like an old guy suddenly gets a new lease of life and comes back all new and dynamic after his 6 months layoff. It's like, no, he's still got old ideas. He's still, I don't know what he can. I'm more worried about Ange. Like, somebody's writing these messages for him. He can't be writing that stuff. I mean, my question would be, which one of Ange's wains does Lawwell have tied up in his basement? It's like he seems like a man that's writing, ransom stuff. I don't know what Ange just might be such one of the football guys. It's like, listen, I don't want anything to do with this sort of stuff. I want to have this, and this, and then you do whatever you like. And if they're making it coming out so that, all right, Ange, we want to communicate that you had a big role in Dominic Mackay coming here because that will really soften it for the fans if we can get your approval. And I think he's going to be one of these guys that, okay, right, no bother. And then it's came back again as well. It's like, listen, Peter's going to stay at the road. We just need you to come out and give us your approval. So that'll calm the fans doing that. It's good enough for Ange, good enough for us. Right? So, I mean, I think that's all the dark arts behind it, communication-wise, and the messaging. It's like, Ange, we need to get you on board. And right now, is that everybody's saying, okay, we've got all the plates spinning, which one's going to come crashing down first? And is that going to be Lawwell interfering in the January transfer window? Does he stay out of it? Who fucking knows it again? We don't know because he doesn't talk to the fans that he represents, or the fans, or the people that he's a champion of. Desmond.
I'm just reading some of the comments going up, and I say it's largely sort of similar feelings, but a negative vibe, and it's like, man, everything's going so rosy. And don't get me wrong, we must caveat this. Obviously, the club are still in a very, very strong position right now. It's not like Peter Lawwell will walk into this position on January the 1st and everything will just turn to shit overnight. It's the long-term thing. It's the, we don't want to get to the summer transfer window and we see similar hallmarks to before. And I know there's been people on Twitter and stuff like that, and I've even seen people in the past in our live chat arguing about, you guys don't know the difference in a CEO and a chairman and stuff like that. But chairman, they're still going to oversee a lot of things. I've literally read out the description of the non-exec chairman, what they do. They still have some sort of say in it. They still have some sort of oversight of everything that's going on. The CEO goes to them with plans and proposals. Then it's up to the chairman at board meetings with the board to go through these ideas and they can get implemented. So he's still going to have some kind of control and effect. And you just don't want to hear stories like similar to John McGinn and the Italian fullback that we nearly signed from Valencia under Roger Piccini or something like that. Apparently he was on the plane and on his way over, and that got kiboshed as well. And it's like, please don't let it. We've said it so many times in the bus. I feel like a broken record the amount of times we've said this, but we'll always find ourselves in a position of strength. During my lifetime of being a Celtic fan, the amount of times we've been in the proverbial position of strength, Liam, and then something just comes along to derail us. And I really pray that this isn't that thing, and we learn from the mistakes of the past, and it is just a case of he just stays in the background.
I mean, that's the thing, but we're no learning from it, because this is the exact template, the exact same framework of everything that just passed it with the appointment of Neil Lennon. And we know how it turns out. And it just thinks again, are we going to go on another cycle where Neil Lennon's been back to the club? Is Scott Brown going to replace Ange? Like, how wide is their connection base? Because it seems to be very, very small. It seems to be a boardroom table, and they don't seem to have outside sources of how to bring new and fresh ideas into a club like that. But 2022, 2023 coming up, what does Lawwell know about running a modern football club? Or what can he add to that? I mean, there was a chance to bring in someone younger, someone more diverse, someone more, even for America or something like that. Somebody that's run a professional football franchise or any sport franchise. There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of them bloody good at it. Sports entertainment. That's what it is. I'm not saying we go shite like that, but understand how to engage with your fan. Fan engagement is everything. That's where all the advertising money goes to.
Nice.
Right? And that man is not good for fan engagement. He finds every single way he can disconnect for the fan base.
Yep.
And that's not good enough in 2023. It's all about communications. And if he wants to censor and put up walls, there'll be no extra media coverage other than just this announcement. Then you know what? They've read it again. We're already off to a bad start.
Well, I've got some more breaking news, because if you listen very closely, Liam, you'll hear. One thing. Enter the judge. The guy that they've all been waiting for. Here he comes. Mark,
sorry about that.
No, don't worry, mate. Don't worry at all. Me and Liam have held it down, mate. It's no worries at all, man. Because we've just obviously been going over it there, and Mark. I mean, it's amazing that last night we were literally talking about this and saying that that's something that's still got to be resolved, and there's a lot of fans that don't want to hear any sort of negative chat about the club when in such a strong position. But we did say last night this is still ominously out there, and lo and behold, today they just dropped it on us, mate. And so, Mark, the floor is yours, mate. You can give us your insight. How are you feeling, mate?
Well, there's some fans out there that when their hair's wet, they deny that it's raining, mate. You know what I mean? You can't get folk to look at the big picture or even any picture that doesn't become comfortable for them. Now, I spoke about this last night, my last night's show, and we mentioned that the hallmarks of Lawwell was about the relationships with the players breaking down around finances, the manager's getting annoyed at his interfering with anything to do with the football side of things. And we said that it could be disruptive to Ange and the Celtic kind of juggernaut we've got going just now. And we mentioned last night also that the Giakoumakis thing just stinked of Peter Lawwell's fingerprints all over it, his sticky wee horns. And when I heard that news today, it just confirmed what I've been saying for a month. Not just me, but a lot of people out there have been saying for about a month. The guy's already been there. He's been working for a couple of months behind the scenes. It's not a coincidence that all of a sudden, for the first time in about 18 months or so, there's issues around money and finances and giving players what they're deserving or what they're worth. And Peter Lawwell just rises for the ashes like a fucking, I don't know, like a zombie about to eat us all. Nah, I was on Twitter earlier on, mate, and I just kind of just gave it my disgust at his decision that the Celtic board can't help but pull the rug under your feet when you begin to enjoy yourself. Last Thursday, when we done a TNF, we were talking about the fact that there's a disconnect between the Rangers fans and the Rangers board. They've got a manager who's no in place that the fans want, and there's also players unhappy at the club, or at least agitating for moves. Fast forward 7 days, and you've got a fan base. Well, the fan base who are having to get their fingers in their ears and their eyes closed, that are totally disgruntled at this move by the board, and you've got players that are a player and a big player, Giakoumakis, looking like he could leave in January because of finances. This is Peter Lawwell all over it. Somebody's flung a stink bomb in the Jockstein stand that's hit me in the face. I'm not happy at all, mate. I don't care what anybody says. We were accused of peril grabbing earlier on. I think that's some sort of euphemism for being disgruntled for the sake of it. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not into all these fad statements, but
I've seen a
that's
few
what
people going to war with you saying bedwetter
Fuck 'em.
and stuff like that.
Fuck
I'm
them,
like,
mate. Fuck every one of them, mate.
Aye.
See,
Aye.
like, see in October 2020, guys like me were getting called bedwetters when we were saying, get Lennon out the fucking door, get this man out the door. While we've still got a chance to win this league. People like myself that were going up and tying flags to the main stand and the gates, saying, get rid of this board, we're getting called animals and spoiled Celtic fans and a new breed of fans they kind of like to. You see the guys up and up in the piss and rain and flung the Sharks. They're the fucking heroes they know, the Celtic fans. They're the ones that demanded change. And they got the change they wanted. The same guys in the 1994, 1993 were still out in the piss and rain, demanding change. Celtic fans were walking by them and grabbing the flyers with their horns and flinging it into puddles and calling them animals for standing there, demanding. And listen, I'm going to tell you a couple of facts for anybody that thinks Peter Lawwell's this financial hero guru. See, Celtic's finances began to take a dive under Terry Cassidy. Do you know who his assistant was? Peter Lawwell. He was a financial director in the early 90s, right? Celtic signed a night deal in 2005 worth £25 million. In 2020, they signed a Adidas deal 15 years later for £30 million. So you tell me that's a good deal. You tell me getting into a Champions League qualification process for 3-4 seasons in a row, playing near beaton at the back because your CEO Peter Lawwell was arguing over pennies and pounds to sign in replacements to give you that better chance of qualifying for the Champions League. We get, and listen, before anybody starts their pish about the trophies we've won under him, see for at least 6 of the 9 titles we won for 2010 to 2020, at least 6 of them there was near Rangers. We still had to win that, but it required minimum investment and minimum effort.
We downsized massively, downsized hugely.
We won that league with Gary Mackay-Stevens, 55-year-old Carlton Cole, and Lundberg for the USA. Do not tell me that was a master plan by Peter Lawwell and Dermot Desmond. The very first time we get a manager of any repute since Martin O'Neill. Gordon Strachan was a brilliant manager as well, don't get me wrong. But the first time we get a manager that commanded the support, the first thing Peter Lawwell did was tell him he wasn't getting big players and started signing Jeremy Toljan behind his back, Marion Shved behind his back, forced him out the door. This is the guy you're talking about. And just quickly before I finish my rant, now, we all know, well, we don't all know, but we've all got this impression that Ange is a no-nonsense character. This man walked out the Australian job because he wasn't getting the backing for the hierarchy in the Australian FA. Do you think if this fucking whopper Lawwell starts putting his nose in, that he won't tell him to get the fucking off? Don't you think for a minute that guy has got options? If he sat on his couch for a couple of months out of job, I guarantee you there'd be a position for him available. One on a lot more money at Celtic. So we need to do our best to keep this fucking man that I think's a breath of fresh air to this country, not just for Celtic. A breath of fresh air. He's bringing football we've not seen since the mid-90s. Really good football into this club. Now, see the signing policy we've got just now. I've never seen Celtic so aggressive. Signing players so early. I spoke about it last night. See, normally, we've got a player, we hold on for a few weeks or a month to save those weeks' salaries. This under Ange will have been doing it. We'll be getting them in straight away. That stops now. Lawwell's there. That stops. Don't you think in January, it's in the summertime, that our targets are going to be in the first week of the window? It's going to be a week before the transfer window finishes, and we're still trying to replace the players that have left in the summer.
The fear.
And see, if you don't think that's the truth, if you don't think that's the way it's going, then you're not paying attention, because it's been happening since that prick has been in the club. And we've won a lot of trophies in spite of Peter Lawwell, not because of Peter Lawwell, in spite of the prick. And his son's the same. I don't know how the fuck they can't get a job.
Well, the second name is usually the big clue. But I left this comment up on the screen because it links into something that you said last night. Again, you know, before you came in there, Mark, like me and Liam were talking about the process, because Dermot Desmond had said he was the outstanding candidate I think he's probably the only candidate because, same as with the director of football position that Mark Lawwell's in. It's like, as you said, Mark,
nepotism.
They go, they search the world, they scout all sorts of people for the job, interviews, whatever they do, and they land on Mark Lawwell.
They might have
for the chairman. Aye, and then the chairman as well.
It's like what was that show was on ITV last year, The Masked Singer, and they found the best candidate. They popped the mask off, and it's Peter Lawwell's son. Fuck off.
Scooby-Doo version.
Aye, that's
would have got away with it too if it was you meddling kids.
Aye, Scooby-Doo couldn't write it. This is like something. I wish I could just fucking run a hot bath and drink a bottle of gin sometimes. Listen to this Celtic board. I really do. I just can't get my head on it. I just can't get my head on it, mate. Sorry for ranting there, but
that's all right, mate.
I've been so pissed off, and I was on the phone there for an hour and a half. It didn't help me.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry. As I say, me and Lee were holding fort, no problem. But we were waiting anxiously on your arrival, Mark, because we knew it would be box office, and it agrees with so many people in the comments. Because again, it's a very, very. I'm not seeing much coming up in defence of this move, and yeah, it's like, oh, what a dampener on it. And as we said last night, and Russell's totally right in this point he made, wasn't it, Liam, where they could have announced this a few weeks ago at the AGM. They could have announced this, and if it was anybody else, but they waited to kind of subtly just sort of sneak it out there. As I say earlier on, the big red flag for me is what you didn't put it on your social media. It's like, well, did you not want any real-time backlash there? And unfortunately, I can see tonight as well that anything that's getting posted now for the club is getting the red sign with the line through it.
Well, that poison's back. But can I just say that you probably find that if you look into the company's house or the rules of the stock market, that they probably have to announce it by a certain date. And that's why they did it today. They'd valid it just Monday morning. Okay. He just showed up at the front door, and some Daily Record photographer took a photo of him, and they just said, "Oh, he's here now." You probably find that legally they've got to announce that. And that's probably why they did it. You probably find that it'll be 30 days or Twitter. 31 days for each first day.
Will they announce the salary? Do you think?
Mate.
For that,
no doubt it, mate. Because see, you probably find that it'll be in amongst the figures, but it'll be you need to look for finally. Aye. Well, he's doing as a non-executive chairman, which means he's supposed to stand in the periphery and just kind of oversee things. Bollocks. That man will be at Celtic Park Monday to Friday. Bollocks. There's no way that guy's not going to be in amongst the daily. And just something. Anybody's ever worked in a company that's had somebody who's been a figurehead or a key member of staff. Doesn't matter if they demote themselves or they leave or they go part-time. They are very much still the person they were before. Don't tell me he can really chat Michael Nicholson's door and just saying, "Michael, what's happening? What's in your tap drawer just now?" Well, I wouldn't do that, mate. That's a bad move. I tried that once. It didn't work. If you're asking me any questions about my advice, just phone Dermot Desmond and he'll back me up. That'll be. I don't care what any cunt says, mate.
You know what it'll be like? It'll be the nepotism just running through the place as well. He's also got a relationship there. He's got his son. So if somebody's going, "Oh, have you ran that by Mark yet?" Or, you know what I mean? That's shite that you get when you have nepotism in a company. That, well, I can't need to make this decision, but my soul and air could probably fill in for me here because same brain cells and DNA and all that. So just as clever and privileged as me. Well,
see when you've got a Russell said this a lot better than I could say, but he was saying, like, say, the on the park takes care of off the park. No the way about. We everything in this club, every pie they sell, every shirt they sell is geared around making the playing side better. We're a football team that is run by the finances created by the football team. It's not the way about. We don't try and make money for the board of directors, or at least it shouldn't be the case for they've got to answer to shareholders. Of course they have, and one of the biggest problems is our second biggest shareholder is, I think it's a umbrella company, and they're called Linsell Train or something. So they expect return in their investments. I understand that, but so that goes against it. So they've got to answer to them. So they've got to make prudent decisions. But as they invest and go bankrupt or spend below what you've got, that this is how the fans have got to get out their head. When like myself are saying we're at a crossroads here every couple of seasons where we can invest and strengthen the team to the next level, or we can stagnate and go backwards. And if you suggest that you go right and and invest in the team and go to that next level, you're accused of wanting the club to go into bankruptcy. That's never been a case at Celtic. Even when Celtic nearly went bankrupt, they weren't gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
They had a board of directors that the banks weren't going back anymore. That when the club was going into a perilous situation, it was game over for them. It was game over for them. I spoke about this on the special. It was never as black, as dull as people were saying. He won the day. There's about 5 other investors that was in amongst it. I know he just secured the debt for £1 million. The minute he did that, there was no turning back for that club. He was getting control, and that was it. You had the guys for what one wants. You had a couple of consortiums. Somebody was going to step in.
Yeah.
So Celtic were never in a position where they were losing money hand over fist. In fact, the season that it all kicked off, their financial figures were better than Rangers. We made more than Rangers did that season. To the season before, the Celtic fans just got a calculator and figured out the break-even number at Celtic Park. And what they did was they stood outside Celtic Park and says, let's keep the attendance below that. And they can't ignore us anymore, and they're going to have to leave. That lasted a wee while, and then it just got worse and worse when they signed that pact where they couldn't vote against each other in the boardroom. That's what happened, right? You can't rewrite history. Celtic are never going to go down. Celtic have got something that they didn't have back then, and that's a season ticket fan base of 53,000. We only had a few thousand season ticket holders back then. Rangers fell into financial trouble and went into liquidation because their loans, due to the sessions, their loan was passed from Lloyds to TSB, I think it was, and they went, what the fuck's this loan? Why is the interest going up on this, and why is nobody paying it back properly? And they've said, right, we want our money in. HMRC get their horns, get their fingers inside the pie and all, and it just went fucking out of control for them.
Yeah,
that's how big clubs like that collapse. You know what I mean? Celtic are nowhere near that level. Celtic have got £30 million in the bank, an overdraft facility of £18 million if they want it, 53,000 season ticket holders, and a structure that's sound.
Yep.
Nobody is suggesting having the next level of players into this club is going to put us in a difficult situation. We'd have to go there and start paying guys $100,000 a week and just recklessly. And we're not going to do that. We're expecting a high level of players. I'll tell you what, see if we sell Juranovic, who I suspect will go, and I'm not too fussed, and we sell Giakoumakis and bring in a centre back that's out of contract for free, a right back that's been reported either between £800,000 and £3 million, and look at a striker of unknown repute. So always spend £4 million and bring in roughly 20. If anybody tells me that's strengthening, they're fucking kidding them. They're kidding themselves.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I'm not in a bad mood, man, but I'm just listening to it.
It's all right, mate. It's fine. It's in tune very much with what's going on. But here's a scary thought for you, Liam, mate. Philip DeMarco's going by this comment. Is this the next move? Is Gordon Strachan still getting a wage? Remember that whole debacle a couple of years ago? Don't tell me that's the next move here for the Celtic board. Please, God, no.
I think Peter Lawwell's got a wee folder with just about 3 or 4 names in it that he's just going to keep recycling through. I think there's in there. There's Gordon Strachan, Scott Brown, Neil Lennon. I don't know if there's anybody else there, but I can just...
Do Dan.
You know, do the hands in there.
I'm sure that's it. If Ange leaves, well, no, don't worry, Desmond. We've been following Scott Brown's progress at Fleetwood, and he's fully capable of stepping in. And you know what? Fans will love that. Fans will love that. They'll all be doing it again, and it's just like never ending. So I said, this is like being on a really, really bad sort of like merry-go-round where you just keep seeing the same patterns after the same patterns, and then somehow believing insanely that there'll be a different outcome by doing the same things over and over again.
That's the definition of insanity right there, mate.
Gordon Strachan could probably replace Peter Lawwell. I mean, he's part of that. Let's call it, it's a fucking cartel now, right? You know, these Edinburgh Toffs running our clubs.
Does that happen? That may happen at teams in the lower leagues where you've got ex-players that are being promised a wee job for a long time if they stay on and take a wage cut through bad times. We've got a structure that doesn't look beyond its own back garden. I mean, you've got fucking Gavin Strachan there. You've got Dan O'Dea there. Michael McManus there. Or Steve McManus, what the fuck his name is. You've got guys in the youth system, a failing youth system for fucking donkey's years.
Aye.
I mean, I said this last night. I don't want anybody that's ever played for the club anywhere near a position again, because unlike Rangers, who need that staunch back of the throat, fucking that taste of blood, we don't need that. I need the best man in the job, and I don't think if you close your eyes and spin round a circle that automatically when you take your hands away from your eyes, you're at an all Celtic player. I don't think that's the case. I think we hired a what do you call it, a recruitment expert to go and scout for somebody to review the club last year, and they landed at Gordon Strachan.
That's right.
I mean, see if you believe that. In fact, if I was a shareholder, I'd be wondering why we're spending about 60 grand on all these guys to go and fucking do this recruitment, and they found the guy who was working at Dundee, who happened to be the old Celtic manager. I don't buy it, and I've seen people in the support talk about even the day on Twitter. I've seen one guy change his profile picture to Peter Lawwell. I mean, that's what topic here. I mean, I'm still on the Michael Nicholson bandwagon either. I'm still on it. Andy's net spends about £9 million. That guy has done a phenomenal job with the money he has actually spent. Now, we lost 16 players in Andy's first summer. Don't tell me bringing in 6 or 7 first team ready players with Celtic transforming the club. You have to do that. You have to. You can't just let all the players go and no replace them. You have to fucking do that. I mean, Ange just bought well. That's the difference. Ange just bought well. He just bought. The guy just knows the football market, and he done a fantastic job and brought in the right players. Kyogo and Starfelt were big outlays in the first window. I think Starfelt was about 4 million. Kyogo was roughly the same, right? Unless my head's fuzzy tonight, the rest were like your usual £1-2 million players. Really, Jota and Carter Vickers on loan. Next season we spent 12 million. But to be honest with you, a manager who sold that stadium at fucking 5 times over if he wanted to and qualified for the Champions League, won a League and Cup double. He deserved his top targets to sign. And by the way, top targets, if you're sitting with a spreadsheet and you're spending roughly £12.5 million and you can sell them the next day for 25 million, it was a no-brainer. That wasn't them sitting on the table and going like that. The Celtic fans deserve the 2 players back. There's no way they sat and said, the Celtic fans have been so hard working for us, buying all the t-shirts. I mean, we broke the Adidas website. Adidas was Real Madrid, Chelsea, we've got Spain, I think, and Celtic broke their website. Celtic crashed their website. Right. That's the level of backing this football club gives. You know what I mean? The fans give. I mean, that is, if we're playing the Moon tomorrow, Polverton would still go.
Of course he would. Yeah.
So, this is the fanaticism, what do you call it?
That is it, fanaticism.
And so you can't be affronted and upset when people like myself, people like you, people like Liam, who goes up at 4 a.m. to watch Celtic play. Don't be upset at that guy when he gets upset when Celtic make decisions that he know as probably going to be to the detriment of the club. You know, I know it's sensationalism. I know he's only signed this morning. He's not on his job yet, but we all know where this is going. You don't need to push me to the edge of a cliff. Before I know what's going to happen, you push me off the edge.
Hey Mark, I was saying earlier, I says you've already seen the first casualty. First casualty is communication. How people decides to dictate fans. Phil had said earlier, it's like, okay, the only missive that came out was on the website. There was no social media. There was nothing that came out through the other channels of the club. It's like, oh no, we went back to the unseen.
Why is that, Liam? Do you think it's because they thought the Celtic fans would take it well? Or do you think because if they knew the Celtic fans would blow up?
Correct.
And see any company, see any restaurant, any cafe, any sports shop, any business goes out their way to upset their customers. It's a bad move. The Celtic just seemed like they wanted to do it. Now, this transfer win, this summer, this wee break has went smooth for Celtic. We won the last game. The Rangers dropped points, 9 points clear. Crested their wave, we're all happy. And Celtic just can't help on a Friday night but fucking pull the rug underneath you. That was a kick in the balls with Giakoumakis news broke Wednesday night. And if you think the Giakoumakis news and the Peter Lawwell news isn't connected, that you are seriously missing the big picture. You must have woke up for a time machine because you've totally you're missing the point here. This has got this guy's stamp all over it. And by the way, see you mentioned the fan communication there.
Yep.
This is a guy who wanted the fans nowhere near press conferences. Wait till you see that getting whittled down.
Yeah,
They've already whittled that down, you know.
Well,
some of these
I'm
fans.
glad
Because nobody answers a serious question now, you know, it's all fan.
Right.
Oh, do you watch them, Liam? I've not watched one of them since. I remember one of them asking a stupid question like, "Oh, what's your favourite city in Australia?" Something stupid. I've not watched one since, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of sit there and put my telly on and watch some fucking Dublin ask Ange Postecoglou his favourite flavour of daiquiri. I'm not interested in that. Don't sit there on your podcast and sit there and slag your board and slag every cunt in the club, and then expected to ask the hard hitting questions. I'm not talking about make an arse of yourself and ask questions that's going to get you really cheeky answers. But say to him, Ange, can you tell me what's happening to Giakoumakis? Is the rumours true? That's the first question I'd ask him. I'm going to sit there going that. Ange, can you tell me what kind of steak did you get when you were out with Peter Lawwell for your dinner last night? Did he pay? Did you pay? Because that's the sort of pish these cunts are asking him. That's the sort of pish they're fucking asking him. And that's why that is a fucking shite they out with. Ange, what's your favourite pizza and all that pure pish? Fan media at Celtic Park is disproportionately followed because the Celtic fans have got a mistrust in the mainstream media. They've got a mistrust to read anything that's diluted or watered down. That's why the Celtic media, fan media, if you want to call it that, grew so big. So stick to that. Stick to these principles. Just talk about Celtic, slag Celtic, praise Celtic, slag Rangers, do whatever you want, but don't start fucking pushing narratives for them. I mean, I had one last week that talked about how it could be a good thing for Lawwell to come back. I'm like, what is it? He's a fucking missing. I know I'm going to have a pure fucking... Mate, honestly, I was on the phone with my dad earlier on, and I said, Dad, I need to go, because I can't even talk about this anymore. And then I get more and more riled by people on Twitter telling me it's a good idea. And do you know something? See, the scary thing is, they actually believe it. That's what's the scary thing, mate. And there was a huge set. I heard this after the Four Tims, which is an excellent podcast. A couple of years ago, one of them was saying that there's a section of our fan base that deserved the Neil Lennon tenure because they were that blind to what was happening. Yep. There's a section of our fan base just now that would deserve every fucking minute a Peter Lawwell tenure again. Because they wish it on themselves. They call me a bedwetter, not just me, but anybody. Call me a bedwetter because I'm called, not just me again, but because, like say myself, I'm calling out a fucking horrific decision. And please don't tell me that the guy isn't going to be in charge. He's Dermot Desmond's go-to man. He's the big boss man. Dermot Desmond is Peter Lawwell, Dermot Desmond's lackey, and everybody else just falls into line with Lawwell. If Lawwell says this, nobody's saying different because they're all scared to. Now, there's certain codes of conduct or certain practices that businesses the size of Celtic are supposed to run, and that's your CEO gets changed every 5 years. He lasted 17. Your board should get changed every couple of years. There's guys on that board for 12 years. It creates one horn isn't supposed to last the other. One horn's supposed to be criticising the other, scrutinising the other, and make sure the business runs as smoothly as possible. When you get the two of them working on tandem, just washing each other's backs, it doesn't work. There's got to be a communication, there's got to be a good relationship. Of course there is. But you can't have all the monkeys dancing to the one tune. And I tell you something, that board of directors at Celtic Park are the biggest bunch of monkeys I've ever seen in my life. Fuck them.
Well, at the club, you just got to follow the money, right? I mean, that's where I think the outcry will come this year, just because of the way we are right now as the world and all that. It's people trying to fucking fight to heat their house. He's got a heated driveway. So, I mean, sorry, Liam, but see that you mentioned the heated driveway there. That's the same guy who sat back and let the media push for 3 or 4 days that his
his car was set on fire by a Celtic fan that was angry. The cunt's car was set on fire because his closest neighbour was a very, very, well, watch what I'm saying here, but he owned nightclubs. The guy owned nightclubs, right? And there was stuff behind that. They let you work out for yourselves what the fuck that was about. And they set fire to perhaps the wrong house. Fuck all to do with Celtic. Nothing to do with Celtic. It's not a Celtic fan thing today. But he sat back and let that be pushed out for days. And by the way, it's still not been clarified. It took a small report that size fucking weeks later but to find out that this nightclub owner had his car torched and all. And before you know it, it's the asset face Peter Lawwell. Fucking the poor man gets his set on fire by mistake because of that car as well. Thank fuck everybody was okay. I mean, thank God for that. But I'm just saying the actual narrative was clearly set by the press that was something to do with Celtic fans and discussed, because we all did banners up and just see every Celtic fan that poisoned the Celtic Twitter page with no entry signs with Lawwell, with Lennon. God bless every one of them. God bless every one of these, because seeing less, if you try to be nice to start halfway and the club slap you in the face at every turn, you need to start playing them at their own game. Now, they got away with it under Lennon because of COVID, but I'll be very disappointed. The 24th of December, I'll be there, and if there's any form of protest, any form of disgruntlement over Lawwell, I'll be taking part. And see anybody doesn't want to take part in that, fine, that is your right, but please don't sit there and claim to be a higher level individual, a class individual than the rest is. The same guys who criticise the Celtic fans for being vocal are the same Celtic fans that will be shouting and bawling when things go wrong. We've saw this movie before. Peter Lawwell written, starred and directed in it, and he's just starting chapter 2. And don't anybody think for a fucking minute this guy has got anything but disgust for the Celtic fans. I didn't see him. I seen Ange Postecoglou, and I love Ange Postecoglou, right? But he turned around and said today, he's a Celtic diehard and the rest of it. Ange, you don't know any Celtic diehards. See, unless you surround yourself with Celtic fans, mate, you don't know any Celtic diehards. You know the fan base from a distance, mate. And we love you, but you keep yourself at a distance and we'll keep away from you. Don't tell me that he's in there every day with his Celtic scarf on, telling Ange he's been up all night thinking about tactics and up all night thinking about who he's going to play next Saturday, because it's not the case. He's a businessman. A businessman who let John McGinn go to Aston Villa when the guy's agent was asking Celtic to sign him. The guy was begging to come to Celtic, and we lost out on that guy for probably a couple $100,000. And then it was put to the lackeys and the fan media that the real story was that Rob Petrie doesn't like Celtic and didn't want to do business with Celtic. But what a shite.
The businessman, at the end of the day, if he brings him in money, he should be willing to do it. There should be none of this business with him.
I know I'm going on here. Sorry, guys. I'm just...
It's all right, man. I'm just, just let it out, Mark. It's fine. But as I said to the viewers before you came on, I knew it'd be good when Mark came on, and you've let it out, Mark. Just breathe now, mate.
I'm sorry, mate. Let's talk about something good. Let's talk about Lawwell's son doing a good job in recruitment.
Oh well, what I was going to do though, because I was only going to try to keep this to about 45 minutes to an hour, so we're actually in 55 minutes coming up to. In fact, we'll be a couple more minutes there, stopping on 55. But yeah, because obviously me and Liam have got to come back in an hour's time to do another show, guys. We're going to be back for Bustalgia at 9 o'clock for that one. We're doing back on the World Cup and Euros trails. We'll be doing Euro 2012 next. A wee palate cleanser after the news of Tyson. Just if you've got a regular watcher of Bustalgia, then obviously come along and watch us at 9. But yeah, we had to get something online tonight. Over the weekend, I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities. I've got a funny feeling when Russell is back tomorrow, he'll probably want to do some sort of impromptu show on Saturday to get his opinion out there as well about it, because this one's going to rumble on for a wee while. But yeah, I knew it'd be an event for us. So yeah, hopefully there's over 100 people at the moment watching. So just again, before we finish up, just remind everybody to do all the good stuff, to comment, like, subscribe and share. It's definitely been an eventful one. It's been an explosive one. So the comments have been I've been keeping an eye on them going up. Quite a lot of they're not so much arguing back and forth. There's been a few, but the majority is similar to, our line of thinking where, all you got to do is just hope that they've learned from any mistakes, and that's all we can do right now. And just see how it goes. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there, guys. I say we need to get ready for our second show at 9. I'm doing a double shift tonight, Liam, a wee double shift for us, mate. But we'll be back in a wee while. But yeah, we'll wrap this one up here. Hopefully the intro doesn't play up again, because the Gremlins were out to get me again during the intro. They were playing up like crazy. So I'll try and run that as best I can.
I'll say something positive first, Phil.
Go for it, mate. End on a positive, though. Come on, let's end on a positive.
Well,
let's do that.
Celtic's newest left back, Florentine Glasgow today, so I'm glad Celtic have made this signing early. That's going to give the guy 4 weeks to get up to speed with the team. That's an excellent bit of business. See, I like that form of business, because not only does it give you a running start, it also lets the guy bed in, get to know the players and all the rest of it. Just ticks so many boxes, and I'm hoping that anybody that does come in follows that trajectory, because I think that market is excellent for us, because they can leave in December and have that. I think that's their window sort of thing, so they can go. And the last 2 windows, Celtic have did that beautifully. And this big guy coming in today, I think, is going to be brilliant for Celtic. And where he makes it, nobody knows yet, but we couldn't ask for a better start. Get him in early. He's in Glasgow, and it's only the 2nd of December. So good luck to the guy, and I can't wait to see him playing the Celtic tap. You know what I mean?
Aye, indeed. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. So it's been an eventful one. It's been fun, but we'll head out now. And to say, for anyone that's a regular viewer in Bustalgia, we'll be back at 9 o'clock. So we shall catch you then, folks. And let me just find the outro. Okay, we'll see you later, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.